It is 2025. What twilight zone am I living in? I am hearing that segregation is legal. The Civil Rights Act is still in place, right? But what does it mean that Trump signed that saying the segregation can now be legal? Does that mean the government is not going to back it? They're not going to back the civil rights? Nobody's got support? So help me God, if I come across a business and it says whites only, you best believe I will be on my heel, spinning around, and I will be out. All the strides that we have made in history to make it that we are equals, because we are equals. We are all human. I don't care the color of your skin. And one narcissistic, homophobic racist gets elected in, and we are to throw that all away. I'm to turn my back on my neighbor because they may be a different skin color. I'm to turn my back on my neighbor because they're different. They're different under your terms, your standards. For anybody this affects, I am deeply sorry. I am disturbed. I am truly disturbed that this is the world I live in. This is the world I'm raising my children in. And quite honestly, I'm embarrassed. Our country, our friends anywhere looking upon us and seeing you're basically not welcome unless you are white.
As a critical criminology lecturer and researcher, I kind of wanted to share my thoughts about segregation in America and how I've interpreted that using a sort of criminological twist. And when I say I'm a critical criminologist, I'm more like kill the rich than fingerprints and, you're a serial killer because your mum was mean to you. I'm not that type of serial killer. I'm that type of criminologist. So what I wanted to say about the segregation is this. It seems to me that actually America has always had the most virulent, violent form of segregation in place anyway, in terms of its criminal justice system. That is nothing short of a segregation system. When you look at the disproportionate amount of black people that experience incarceration and the extended carceral system in terms of probation and parole and whatever, yeah, even greater disproportion is shared among Indigenous First Nations people who disproportionately or even greater represented within the carceral system. What this actually tells me is that actually what we're seeing is an extension of the carceral net into the wider community. And I don't think white people have the privilege to be shocked that Trump would suggest segregation when the American criminal justice system has been incarcerating people of color at colossal community wrecking levels for decades, and not to mention the types of policing that look more like hunting than policing. Anyway, just wanted to share my thoughts about that. Yeah, follow me if you want to.
Black people really don't give a shit if they can't be around white people, right? Like, you think that black people give a flying fuck that you're not going to let them into your racist ass place? Because I promise you they don't. What's really going to suck is not being able to go into black spaces like that. That's going to suck for white people who enjoy things that are cool and fun. That part's really gonna suck. But like, we deserve to be kicked out. Okay?
What's up, folks? Welcome to the channel. I am Vikazo. In today's video, we are diving into something that is causing a lot of controversies, DT, segregation, and whether or not we are seeing a return of racially divided policies in the States. It's a topic that hits close to home for so many of us, and let's break it down and figure out what's really going on here. We all know that DT is no stranger to controversies, but recently some of his comments and policy moves have raised serious concerns about whether he's pushing for segregation or at least trying to bring back elements of it. Now, in the video, I'll walk you through how people have reacted and why this issue is bigger than just a few statements. It would have a huge impact on racial equality in the States. Now, before we jump into the controversy, let's quickly break down what segregation actually is. For anyone who might not be familiar with segregation, it's when people are separated based on race, whether through laws, policies, or just plain social structure. And we are talking about a time in the US when Black Americans and other people of color were kept out of schools, jobs, and neighborhoods just because of their race. This went until the civil rights movement of 1960s fought to tear down those walls. Now, so what's happening right now? Over the past few years, DT has made several statements and backed policies that have critics believe could paving the way for more segregation, or at least less racially exclusive policies. One of the biggest things he's talked about is banning critical race theory from schools and government institutions.
Apparently, Trump just signed a law where segregation is back, and I'm feeling sick on my stomach. I had to create a second account so I can make this video because I'm feeling sick in my stomach. And I know that my friends are tired of listening to me having these complaints, and I don't want to go and put them through this same thing again. And what a mind fuck it is for me growing up in a country where if you're racist against somebody, they can sue you and put you in jail for 5 years plus fees, to move to a country where now it's not illegal anymore. I don't even want to say to separate people, to label people, to create bathrooms for different races. Like, I don't understand why Americans don't do anything. I'm a new citizen, and I'm here begging you. I'm here begging you. Why don't you do anything? Why do you get up and go to work as nothing is happening? Why didn't you vote? Like, why you're not on top of the mayor of your city with the law and your senators, like, and the president? Like, you don't understand that America, United States of America, really soon will be a horrible cyberpunk movie. You know, the cyberpunk where we're not going to have clean air. Robots going to be working, and it's not going to have money or jobs for people. It's not going to have food or clean water. That's the cyberpunk that I'm talking about. And just trash everywhere, just cars everywhere, because all you do is buy shit on Amazon that you don't need, buy shit on this app that you don't need. It's order food and fucking app deliveries. Like, you're telling me now that Americans have the option to get a loan from a bank so you can split payments of your food delivery. Guys, wake up. Wake the fuck up. You are much better than this. If you're watching this, you're much better than this. You can do so much more. You speak the most spoken language in the world. You know how hard it is to learn English? You make one of the most valuable coins until now in the planet. You know how much power do you have? You live in a country where the technology, it's one of the cheapest countries in the world to have access to technology, to MacBooks and iPhones and printers, 3D printers. Like, the power that you have, the opportunity that you all have before having access to culture, to education, to technology. Now everybody has internet. You don't need none of that shit. You're watching this, you have internet. Like, you all have the power to do something. Like, Brazilians, we get a lot of shit wrong. We do. And I feel like, you know, the politicians keep stealing from us, and we just meet on the weekend for some barbecue and we're good. But, like, don't mess with our land, bitch. Don't mess with our people. We're gonna come for you. We're gonna come for you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're giving away for being quiet your future because you were stuck in this country, because you cannot leave, because you know why. I know why. Because you have a student debt of $200,000 with a bank, $100,000 with a bank that you will never pay. You will never own a house, which is another conversation. You will never get married and have a rom-com that you want so much because you're stuck working in a minimum wage job, living with a roommate, eating fast food every day, buying cars and paying for 30 years, shopping on Amazon every day for things that you don't need. It's just $5. It's just $10. That's what's up, America. That's what's up, and it makes me so sad because you know what? I worked so hard to come here and conquer something, and I was hoping to enjoy the country because I really like America. I really like the States. It's very pretty. I really love how Americans are so polite. They open the door. They say, "Oh my God, excuse me. Would you please, sir? Thank you very much. Sorry, thank you." Like, we don't do that in Brazil. I love that. That's great. But girl, you gotta wake up. Like, you gotta wake up. It can be too late. Like, you can just ignore things like this and let them. You cannot let them. This time you don't let them. You know what I'm saying? You cannot. Like, don't let them. Don't let them. I know that Mel Robbins taught us to let them, but this time, don't let them. I pray for all of us. You know.
No. Now, I need everybody. When you see something online, I need every single one of you to go look into what it means. Or even put it in AI and let it tell you what it means. Because it got flagged and done. It was revised under Obama. This all has to do with, where is it? Right here. To include this. That's what's changing. It's going back to what it was before Obama did this bullshit. To make everything all-inclusive, like an all-inclusive resort or something. No, that it just means just like your passport. M and F, that's all there is. M and F. That is it. Please go look into things. You'll find all kinds of information. All kinds of, it's not about anything. Right here, the term does not include separate or single-user restrooms or necessary dressing and sleeping area provided to assure privacy between the... This is what it's all about, and this is why they're throwing their fits right here. Please, please go read about it. And don't ask a lot of these people online, because they'll tell you their version instead of giving you actual factual proof that it's not about segregation. Anyways, I love you. Bye.
So you mean to tell me that federal contractors have gotten the approval from the President of the United States to segregate if they choose to? I wonder what the fuck that sign gonna look like. I remember the ones back in the day. What, coloreds go around back? No coloreds here? No coloreds drinking out this? What the fuck is the sign gonna look like? No niggas drinking over here? No niggas eating here? What is the sign gonna look like? That's what I want to know. And if you choose to place the sign, please place it. Please make it as big as day. Because I want to know where I'm not welcome.
We're already not welcome in a lot of places, but they skin and grin and they smile and they still do what they do because they have to. Now you're not being forced to. So please put up that sign, because I know you guys are already drawing up a little draft of what you think it might look like. I just want to know, what the fuck is the sign going to look like? What is it going to say? Because I want to see it. I want to see the sign. If I guess we're gonna take it all the way back. You want us, you don't want us. You want us here, you don't want us here. Show me the sign.
The man is trying to put martial law into place. Okay, he's trying to put it into place, and he's trying to get those of us that are melanated upset about it so that way we can go out and riot so he can have a reason to enact martial law. I really wish y'all would have listened to us when they overturned Roe v. Wade. Because I said, and I have the video to prove it, I said that once they overturn Roe v. Wade, they're coming after everything else. Y'all didn't want to believe it because those of y'all who were homophobic, racist, sexist, misogynist, anything of that nature, y'all were salivating at the thought of us suffering. Just happy about it. And now because some of y'all are sitting up here being affected by it personally, now y'all want us to just go out and riot with y'all. Absolutely not. That man just just put into law that it's, we gonna have colored and whites only fountains again, according to him. Like, black people, continue to stay your ass at home. Continue to stay at home, tend to your families, tend to your dogs, your cats, whatever it is, and mind your business. They want us to get upset so that way they can say this is the reason why we have to enact martial law, because they're mad that we're not mad about it. Y'all had the opportunity to stand with us November 4th and y'all chose not to. We tired. We done.
Okay, I know we're all kind of laughing about this idea of segregation coming back, and white people are jumping ship left and right. Like, please let me be on the side of Beyonce and Jasmine Crockett and Barack Obama. I don't want to have nothing to do with Carrie Underwood and Kid Rock, right? Leave me out of it. So yeah, that's funny to sort of joke about, but segregation is not funny. It was more than just entertainment and which restaurant you could use and which water fountain you could use and whether or not you were allowed to use the public pool. Like, it affected so many other systemic things. Education, access to property ownership, banking. Like, it was really deeply bad. I'll do one of my presentations on Jim Crow and the segregated South, but I got so many requests to do a video on the Tulsa Massacre, and when I did, it got about 600 views. So clearly the algorithm is working against me on this one. I had millions of views of my Kendrick Lamar 40 Acres and a Mule video, and then when I did Tulsa, it got deeply suppressed. So I have to think, use my little mind and find a way out of that algorithmic hole and find a way for us to talk about what actually happened during the Jim Crow era, and particularly the South of the United States, but the North too, frankly. We should also talk about the Loving Supreme Court case, which made interracial marriage legal. So if there's interest in a historical presentation on Jim Crow, let me know. I'll spend the time on it, but, being suppressed by talking about controversial and difficult things like the Tulsa Massacre is sort of demoralizing.
Back in 2020, DT signs an executive order to stop diversity training in federal agencies, calling it un-American. He argued that programs teaching about racial inequality, specifically critical race theory, are divisive, but for many, that move feels like it's erasing the progress we've made in addressing systemic racism. Now, this has sparked a huge backlash. On one side, you have people who argue that critical race theory and diversity training are themselves divisive, that by teaching about race, we are separating people rather than uniting them. They say it makes kids feel guilty, or it creates tensions where there shouldn't be any. And again, then you have the civil rights groups, educators, and activists who argue that this view is not only dangerous, it is setting us back. You see, diversity training Racial awareness programs and teaching about the history of racism are crucial in understanding the deep-rooted inequalities that still exist today. Without this conversation, we risk ignoring the real issue that affect marginalized communities. Now, why it matters? But why does it matter? It is more than just about some disagreement on education or history. It's about what these policies and attitudes say about where we are as a country. Segregation isn't just a historical concept, it's a reminder that when people are divided based on race, it leads to inequality, missed opportunities, and fractured society. When Trump pushes policies that diminish the importance of race education, it raises the question, are we taking a step backward? That is the question you should also ask yourself. Now, why it feels like a return of segregation? On the historical context, to understand why this feels so much like a return of segregation, we have to look at the bigger picture. In the mid 20th century, America fought a massive battle to dismantle institutionalized segregation, things like separate but equal schools, voting restriction, and discriminatory housing policies. The civil rights movement led to landmark victories like the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which were supposed to guarantee equal rights for all people regardless of the race. Now, the danger of dividing people. Now, this is the danger of dividing people. When we hear about banning diversity programs, limiting race education, and removing protections from minority groups, it starts to feel like we are revisiting some of those dark chapters. And that's what makes it so dangerous. Dividing people based on the race, whether it's in schools, neighborhoods, or workplace, creates a wedge in society. The one that can be hard to undo. If you allow a race to be tool for division, even subtly, you run the risk of fostering a climate where inequality isn't just tolerated, it's built into system. Again, now, Trump's rhetoric and its impact. Here is where it gets tricky. It's not just about the policies, it's also about the way DT talks about race. His rhetoric carries weight, especially because so many people follow his lead, whether or not he explicitly say, let's segregate. The language and actions, like banning programs that address inequality, it sends a message that racial unity isn't a priority. Now, the critics of DT rhetoric argue that his statements are not just harmful, they are divisive. They say that when he dismisses race-focused education on training, he's ignoring the real issue that still exists in the American society. It's not about making people feel guilty for their race. It is about addressing the reality that racism still exists, and if we ignore it, we are putting our country at risk of repeating the same mistakes. Where do we go from here? How have we reached here? What needs to happen next? What we can do about all this? Well, first and foremost, we need to make sure we are not erasing history. We need education that teaches the full scope of American history, the good and the bad, because without understanding our past, we are doomed to repeat it. That means we need to continue teaching about systemic racism, inequality, and struggles that marginalized groups face. Now, the way forward is through unity and education. We have to make sure we don't go backward to a time when people were judged by the color of their skin if we really want to achieve equality. It starts with understanding each other, listening to each other, and being committed to creating policies that lift everyone up, not tearing them up. Now, so in the end, it's clear that DT rhetoric policies have raised serious concern about future of racial equality in the states. Are we heading back to a time segregation? Maybe not in the same ways as the past, but there is no denying that we are seeing signs of division that could hurt future generations. I want to hear what you think about all this. Do you think that is pushing America towards segregation again, or is it all just political talk? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and let's have a conversation about where we go from here. If you like this video, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share it with others who might want to weigh on their important issues. Thanks for watching, and remember, no matter what's happening in politics, it's all up for us to stand for unity and equality. Let's keep conversation going. I'll see you in the next video.